Seriously, improving your grades isn't luck. You have to make the right moves at the right time. On this video, I'm going to be breaking down practical steps that you can take to improve your grades in 2025. These steps will help you to stay focused and stay motivated. Let's make 2025 your year of academic transformation. The very first thing that you need to take into account is that you should set clear goals. And one of the things that you need to pay attention to is that you should assess your current academic performance. And while you are assessing your current academic performance, you should try as much as possible to review your grades from previous semesters. Now, while reviewing your grades from previous semesters, take a look at what you've been scoring over time from previous semester 2024. Look at subjects that you've been doing well and subjects that you've not been doing well. It will actually help you to know which subjects you need improvements on and which subjects that you need to maintain its grades as you go on in 2025. Another thing that you need to take into consideration, you should identify your strengths and your weaknesses. Aside from you reviewing your grades from previous semesters, try as much as possible to identify subjects that you have strengths in and subjects that you have weaknesses in, to have the intention to improve in all these subjects that are your weakness. Now, take for example, this strategy actually helps me a lot that at a point when I was in school, because going forward to my next academic year, I actually know that I had issues with some subjects and I didn't have issues with some other subjects. So the subjects that I had issues with, I tried as much as possible to get ready and tackle those weaknesses and make sure that I improve in them. I knew I could not write well when it comes to exams. I knew I had issues when it comes to certain calculations. So I took care of those issues before going into the next academic year. And that is exactly what you should do at this point. You should try as much as possible to take a look at your weaknesses and try to address those weaknesses. And also, you should know your strengths. And one thing I will advise you is that you should focus more on those weaknesses and spend more time to improve on them before 2025. Another thing that you need to take into consideration that can actually improve your grades drastically in 2025 and beyond is that instead of focusing on the big picture, focus on the specific exact outcome. Now, this is what I mean. Instead of just saying that you want to improve your grades in general, after you might have identified your weakness and you might have assessed your current academic performance, you should try as much as possible to determine the grades you want to be getting in each of the courses that you are offering, because it will give you a lens of focus. You'll be able to focus and you'll be able to know the specific thing that you want. Are you going to be improving? If you've been getting C's and D's before, do you want to be improving to A's and B's in certain subjects? Now, aside from setting clear goals and taking all those things into consideration, there's another thing that you need to take into consideration in order to improve your grades in 2025 and beyond, is that you should develop a study plan. If you fail to plan, you plan to fail. The importance of developing a study plan is to have a focus on what to do. You have different activities that you do as a student and you have different subjects that you offer. It is very important for you to have a plan. If you've not been having a plan before, this is the right time for you to have a plan, because it gives you a lens of focus and helps you determine what to do and when to do it. And when it comes to having a study plan, there are specific things that you need to take into consideration. You need to note when you need to study, you need to know where you need to study, you need to know what you need to study, and you need to know how you need to study. So I'll be taking you through each of these as we go on. Now, when it comes to when you need to study, you need to schedule your time in such a way that you have a specific time you need to study. How many hours in a day do you want to be studying, and what time of the day do you want to be studying? Do you want to be studying more in the morning, in the evening, or in the afternoon? Do you want to be studying 2 hours every day, or 3 hours, or 6 hours? Have this plan stated down and stick to them. It helps you to be very much consistent, because you know by this time of the day I am studying for this amount of hours, and if you keep doing that every time, this thing adds up at the end of the day and you'll see the improvements in your grades. But if you don't have a plan and you just do anything anyhow at any point in time, you will not have a focus, you won't be consistent, and in fact there won't be a kind of motivation at any point in time, and you start to think of what to study and where to study. But if you have a plan, and you follow those plans, it will help you. Another thing that you need to focus on is where you need to study. Now, this has to do with your study environment, your learning environment. Try as much as possible your learning environment is free from distraction, because if you are distracted, there is no how you'll be able to assimilate anything that you are reading and eventually to affect your grades. So if you really want to improve your grades in 2025, try as much as possible to create a distraction-free environment in such a way that you'll be on a flow state and you'll be able to read for the allotted time that you've stated and for that particular time that you've allotted. It is very important. And when it comes to what to study, now what to study has to do with fixing specific subjects to the times that you've allotted that you want to study. You might be offering 10 subjects. For these 10 subjects, there might be times there when you don't know what exactly to study at any point in time. But you knowing what to study at specific times that you've allotted, it will help you focus, and you don't have to think about what to study at any time you are at the table that you need to study, because you've stated it and you already know what to study. If you are really getting value so far, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel and like the video. In a situation whereby you have several topics that you need to study, it is important for you to break them down into the times that you've allotted in order for you to make it easy for you to cover up at any point in time. Now, one last thing that you need to do when it comes to your study plan is that you should determine how you'll be able to study. And this has to do with using active learning techniques. A lot of students don't actually know how to study. By the time they write an exam and the results don't come out well, they start putting the blame on the lecturer or some other things, but they don't know that they are actually studying the wrong way. So if you apply active learning techniques, it will actually help you to be able to engage with what you are learning, and it is actually the art of doing. And there are several active learning techniques that you can apply. You can apply spaced repetition, and you having what to study and when to study can actually help you space your learning. And in this form, if you apply the active recall alongside, active recall is just a situation whereby you tend to recall anything that you are learning without having access to the book. And also, if you try as much as possible to teach what you are learning at that times that you've allotted to someone as you are going on in the semester or in the term, it will help you retain more of the information at any point in time. And also, try as much as possible to use examples while you are learning, and try as much as possible to think of how what you are learning relates to the environment. These are active learning techniques. Instead of simply reading and just thinking that it will be assimilated. You always ask yourself questions while you are studying, because it's an effective way for you to be able to check whether what you are learning has sticked with you or not. So when you are scheduling your study, put all these things into account: what you need to study, when you need to study, where you need to study, and how you'll be studying at any point in time. Now, another thing that you need to take into consideration in order to improve your grades in 2025 is that always take breaks. Breaks can actually help your brain to rest and helps you to retain more information, because when you take break, you are rejuvenating your mind to be able to get ready to receive more information into, and at that time you are freeing up your brain from anything that is in the working memory in order for it to be transferred to the long-term memory. Practice consistency. Everything that I've been saying, if you are not consistent enough, there is no how what you are learning or what you'll be reading will be able to stick with you. Any system that you've set in place for yourself, try as much as possible to be consistent with it and stick with it at any point in time, because that's the only way you can get results out of anything that you are doing. So if you are not consistent with it, or maybe you just do a few weeks when you got into the year and you just forget about it, you are not going to see any results. So you are going to see results if you are actually consistent with what you are doing and consult multiple resources. Now, it is not enough for you to only focus on the courses, on the resources that your lecturer provides for you, because these materials are limited in context and in content. It is advisable for you to get multiple resources from different sources, either videos, either audios, either podcasts, either any textbook. Just consult multiple sources from anything that you've been taught in class in order to have more idea about it, because if you do this, it will help you provide more content and it will help you gain more understanding anytime you are in the exam hall. And another thing that I want to point out is that test yourself regularly. Like I said, it is not enough for you to just read and just go and think that you'll be able to remember. It is through testing you'll be able to know your lapses and know where to focus on, because if you don't test yourself, there is no how you will know whether you are improving or not. And by the time you go to the exam like that, well, you're going to get into trouble because you discover that there are some questions that you cannot answer. If you take care of them before you go into the exam and you get feedback immediately when you test yourself practically before the exam, it will help you know what to focus on, what not to focus on, and where to improve. It is very important. So if you got so much value from this video, please like the video and also subscribe to the channel. You can also check out this other video that can help you to improve as a student in 2025 and beyond. So thank you so much for watching and see you on the next one.